Alright, this is how to play my song called Indications, and the tuning is in drop B flat, and the intro starting off sounds like this. And just a quick heads up for this, if you're wanting to learn this song, I'm going to go through this kind of quick because it's kind of long and I don't want this to turn into a super long video, so all I'm going to focus on is just what frets and chords and stuff to play, but I'm not going to focus too much on strumming patterns or anything like that. Because it's pretty straightforward, and I'll play each part slowly so you can see what I'm doing. But the intro starts off sounding like this. Okay, that starts off on the 6th string, 5th fret, and you're just going to play that one string. Okay, and then the high note that you hear is the 7th fret of the 5th string. Okay, and then you go back to the 5th fret of the 6th string. And then the next note that you hear is the 7th fret of the 6th string, and you strum that 3 times. So all together this goes. Okay, and then you repeat the first part. And then you go down to 3 on the 6th string. And that's just the very first part, so I'll play it through slowly. Okay, and obviously you can hear the only string that is palm muted is when you're playing that 5th fret of the 6th string. Everything else is not palm muted. And then the rest of the intro comes in and it sounds like this. Okay, it's basically the same thing, except on this part you don't ever go down to the 3. You start off by playing the 2 strings here, barred across the 5th. And this high note here is still on the 7th fret of the 5th string, but on the 4th string you're also going to be on the 8th fret. Okay? It's a dissonant chord, but you only strum it quickly, so like that. Okay, and here again you go up to the 7th, but it's 2 strings instead of 1. And then you repeat that. Okay, and then the next part you go up to the 8th fret, and you play the same thing. It's the same shape and everything, but it's on the 8th fret instead of the 5th. And you only play that once, and then you go back down to the 5th. Okay, and the next part goes... All that is, it's bar chords across, and it goes 8, 7, 3, 5. Okay, and the next part comes in and sounds like this. Okay, and that's just going to repeat. You start off by hitting open twice. Okay, and then you go like this. And then the chord that you play here is on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 7th fret of the 4th string. And you strum that 3 times. So... Okay, and then you continue the pattern. And this chord is the same as this one, but you go down 2 frets so that you're on 3 and 5. Okay? Okay, and then you continue the pattern again, but instead of open, you're going to play across the 3. And the high note that you play here is on the 8th fret of the 5th string. Okay? Okay, and then you bar across the 8th fret. And you do that same pattern. And then you play the 10th fret of the 5th string. So. Okay, and you repeat that several times, and at the very end you just hear this. That's really simple. It's just open, and then you do a slide down. Okay, and the next part sounds like this. Okay, this is really simple. It goes open, 8, 7. Okay, and then it's going to go open, 3, 2, open. Okay? Okay, and then the next part is the exact same, except at the very end, the last note is a 3. Instead of an open. So it would go. Okay, and then the next part goes like this. Okay, that's just the first part, and all the open notes are triplets. Okay, you do 2 of those, and then you pull off from 1 to open. Okay, and then you do some more triplets, and then you go 3-1. Okay, and then you do the first part again. Okay, and then right here you're gonna do 2 triplets, and you're gonna go 7-6, and then 1 triplet, and then 6-7. And I'll play that slowly. Okay, and then the second time you do that, you reverse the order of the 7-6, 6-7. So the first time you're going 7-6 and then 6-7, and the second time you're going to go 6-7, 7-6. So the second time would look like this. So it's basically the same. You're just switching the order of these 2 chords up here, and the next part comes in and sounds like this. Okay, so it's the exact same thing except there's no triplets, it's just all downstrokes. Okay, and you'll hear that very first part of that is the only non-palm muted open. Okay, and then you're going to repeat that little thing again, except there's a little bit of variation, and the second half of that goes like this. Okay, so it starts off the same. Right after you do the 1 off, there's a triplet right before you do the 3-1. Okay, just like that, and then you hear the open again. And then this part is exactly the same, except you go 6-7, 7-6, and then you land on 5. So I'll play that second half really slowly because I know it's confusing. Okay, and then after that you're going to hear this. It's all on 1 string. Okay, it's very similar except you're doing this pattern again. Okay, and right after you get done with that last 1 open pull off, you're going to hit the open string on the 6th string twice, and then you're going to go 1-3, 3-1 on the 6th string. Just like that, okay? And there's a hammer on pull off. Okay, and then you repeat that again. Now instead of the 6th string, you're just going to do it on the 5th string. So I'll play that slowly for you. Okay, and that's it for that. And then the next part, this chord that you hear is barred across the 8th fret and then the 10th fret on the 4th string. Okay, and after you hold that for a few measures, then you're going to hear this. Okay, and then you hold that. The pattern is 3 palm mutes and 1 not palm muted, so that's... Okay, just like that. And then you go back up to this chord again. Okay, and this time when you go open, the pattern's going to change. You're going to do the first part the same, just like that, and then the rest of it is triplets. So the second time you hear that open note, it's going to go like this. Okay, and then you go back up to the 8 and do that pattern again. Okay, and this time with open, it goes like this. So you're doing 3 downstrokes and then 1 triplet. Okay, and that's it. And then you go back up to 8. And then you end just by hitting open. Okay, and then the next part that you hear is the clean guitar. And it's really simple. It's just 2 chords played over and over. 5th string, 8th fret, and the next 2 strings on the 10th fret. Okay, and then you're going to go to a barred chord across the 8th fret with the 3rd string on the 10th fret. Okay, and you're just going to go back and forth between those 2 chords. That's really simple. And that plays in the background while the distorted guitar comes in and plays this. Okay, all you're doing there, you start by on the 8th fret and you're going to slide down to the 3rd fret. That, okay? And then I'll play the pattern really slowly so that you can see what it is. And you do the same thing when you go up to the 8th fret. So it's basically just going to go 3, 8, 3, 8, 3, 8 while the clean guitar is playing its thing. So after you get done with 3, you go up to the 8. Okay, you do that several times, and played real time, it sounds like this. Okay, and after you do that a few times, listen to the song, and you hear it go down from, after you play the 8, you go down to the 3 and just hold it. And then you'll hear you do 2 triplets and then strum it again. Okay, and then you do 2 more triplets, and then you go open. And do the same thing with the open. And after you get done with the open, you hear another slide. Okay, so that last part would go. Okay, and then you're going to hear this part come in next. Okay, the first part starts off like that riff I showed you earlier where it goes. Okay, and that's 1 triplet and then 2 downstrokes, and then you go 1 open. And the rest of this you'll hear just 4 downstrokes followed by 2 triplets, and you do repeat that 4 times. Okay, and then you're going to hear this. Okay, all that is, you start off by going 3 open. Okay, so you go 3 open and then 4 downstrokes. And then 1 triplet, 2 more downstrokes. And this is where you hear the... Okay, so it goes... Okay, and then for the rest of this, from here on, it's 6 downstrokes, 1 triplet, and then 2 downstrokes. Okay, so that first hammer-on is open 8-10, open 8-10. Okay, and then this next one is open 10-12, open 10-12. And the last one is open 12-15, open 12-15. Okay, so I'll play that slowly. And right after you get to this 15, you're going to strum 12th fret barred, and then 10, and then 13. And then you end with 3. Okay? Okay, and then the next part comes in is clean, and it sounds like this. Okay, it's really simple. You bar across the 5th fret for the first chord with the 4th string on the 8th fret. Okay, and the next chord is 8th fret barred with the 10th fret on the 4th string. Next chord is just 1 barred, and then 3. And then you repeat that again, except the second time, when you get down to 1, you end it by hitting 3 only twice. Just like that, and then the very end of the song comes in. And I'll show you the rhythm guitar first, and then the solo. The rhythm guitar plays this. And then it just fades out there. The first chord is the same as the intro to that last clean part. Is that chord? Okay, here. And then the next one, you bar across the 10th fret. On the 4th string, you're going to be on the 13th fret. Okay, and this one is a bit of a stretch, especially on this baritone guitar. 1st fret barred with your pinky on the 5th fret of the 4th string. Okay, and if your fingers can't reach that, just don't worry about it and just play 1st fret barred. Okay, but if you can go like this, and the next chord, you just bring your 1st finger up to the 3rd fret and you leave your pinky where it is. Okay, and then right before you repeat, you get 2 palm muted downstrokes. Like that, okay? So it's... And then you repeat it. The first chord's the same, second chord's the same, and then the 3rd chord is a power chord over here on the 6th fret of the 5th string, next 2 strings on the 8th fret. Okay, and then you move up 2 frets so that you're on 8 and 10. And then the very last part, you go back down to 6 and 8, and you go... So you go here, and then you slide down 1 fret, and then you land on the 5th fret. So that last part will go... Okay, and then the last part to show you is the solo that goes over that. And I'll play it slowly here. It goes like this. The first notes are on the 3rd string. It's going to go 12, 15. On the 2nd string, you're going to go 13, 15. And you're going to do that twice. Okay, and the next part, you're going to, the 1st string is the same. But these 2 notes over here, instead of going 13, 15, you're going to go 15, 13. And you're going to do that twice, so the second half will go. Okay, and then after that, you're going to go to the 1st string, and you're going to go 15, 13. Okay, and then you're going to hammer up to the 18th fret, back down to 13. So that would go like this. Okay, then right here, this little walk down goes like this. Okay, it starts on the 1st string. You're going to go 13, 15, 13 really quickly. Just a hammer on it and a pull off. Okay, and on the 2nd string, you're going to go 15, 13. On the 3rd string, you're going to go 15, 12. 4th string, you're going to go 15, 12. Okay, and then right here, you're going to go 10, 12. So that will go that. And on the 3rd string, you're going to go 12, 15. 2nd string, 13, 15. 1st string, 13, 15. Okay? Okay, right here, you're going to hit that 15th a few times. And then you're going to pull off to the 13th fret. And you're going to do that hammer again from the 18th fret down to the 13 again. Okay, so it's... Okay, right here you're going to go 15, and then you're going to go to the second string 15. Okay, like that. And then right here you're going to go 16, and then over to the 15th fret of the third string. Okay, so that would go. Okay, and then right here you're going to go on the 15th fret of both the second and the third string, and you're going to strum those. Just like that, okay? And then the very last block down goes like this. And it ends like that. So to start off, second string you're going to hammer from 13 to 15, and then you're going to pull off back to 13. Like that, okay? And then on the third string you're going to go 15, 12. This is very similar to the first walk down, it's just a little bit different. And then on the fourth string you go 15, 12 again. And then you do the 10, 12 again on the fourth string. And on the third string you land on 12, and that's it. Last part is... And that's how the song ends. So I'll just play through the solo again one more time so you can see what I'm doing. And that's it. That's how to play the song that I wrote with Ignite the Night on YouTube. It's called Indications. Thanks for watching.